All right, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope that you're doing well. Listen, welcome to my show, which is called DMPSpeaks. It's going to be a wonderful time. I hope that you're probably out shopping right now, or you just got home from work or whatever that you're doing. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're feeling well. Listen, welcome to Better with DMP Speaks. If you don't know who I am and this is your first time, let me introduce myself. My name is my name is David M. Pinkson, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I am an empowerment motivational speaker, but I also am a one-on-one coach for self-development, that individual being your best self. But I'm also a board certified Christian counselor, and I'll be working with families as well. We're reconnecting parents to their children, guardians to their children, really helping them bridge that gap. That's what I do. That's my gift. That's my talent. That's what I do, because I do it from my heart, and I want to see people become the best version that they can be. So if you can do me a favor, please share this with someone. We're going to have a great show tonight. It's going to help you. I believe it's going to help you. I'm confident it's going to help you tonight. It's going to help you stay on pace, because the title of tonight is called Pace Yourself. You got to learn how to pace yourself. It is so hard to do, but you have to, when you come up with the plan for yourself, because it's all individualized. When you come up with a plan to learn how to push yourself, then you have to be able to execute what you have planned. And that's not the easiest. But when you start and you're consistent, you'll find your pace. So I like to give a definition. What I believe pace is. Sometimes I go to the dictionary. Could be something I have read that talked about the particular topic or word that I talk about and I expound on. So what I gathered from pace was it's the ability to do something under stress and or pressure. So let me say it again. Pace is doing something or having the ability to do something under pressure or and or stress. And let's be honest, a lot of you have been doing this for a while. You've did a lot of things that you felt like you couldn't do under stress. There are certain things that you have done under pressure, and it has taken a lot out of you, right? We all have stressors. I don't care if you have money or not, prestige or not, power or not. We all have stressors. We all have some kind of pressure. We got money pressure. We got relationship pressure. We got job pressure. We got physical pressure. We got emotional, psychological pressure. Sometimes we have, and you might say, well, spiritual pressure. What is that? Trying to be what God's called you. So this is not a. So let me make this clear. This is not me preaching. This is none of that. But we also have to look at ourselves as spirit beings, because that's who we are. We don't live in this body just with the flesh and bones. We have a spirit. So you also have to take care of your spirit as well, to make sure your spirit, your mind, your thought, right, your mentality, your emotions are in order. But sometimes when we don't have the greatest pace that we should have in our life, that stress, that pressure can overtake us. And you could probably be honest with me, because I'm gonna be honest. Some of you can name some places, some situations, but you also can name some people that give you some stressors, because the very one that you love might be stressing you out. That's a whole nother subject for another day. But we all have some kind of stressor. We all have something that we're under pressure to make a decision, pressure to move, pressure to not move, pressure to get this job, pressure not to get this job right now. But what is our pace? We got to find our pace. And sometimes we can go too fast, we can go too slow, and we don't really know what our pace is, or we really don't know how to find our pace. We have to, and I want to make this very clear, you have to find your own pace. Your pace and how you live your life is going to be drastically different than it's going to be for you, because we're two different people. It's going to be different than your sister. It's going to be different than your friend. It's going to be different than your father. It's going to be different than your coworker. It's going to be different. Everybody's pace is different. You know why? Because there are certain seasons that people are in, certain seasons that you are in your life, when we're dealing with pace, require a different pace. So maybe right now, going into the new year, because I don't believe in resolutions. I've done the diet resolution. I've done the prayer resolution. I have done this resolution and done that resolution. Just personally, I just don't believe in resolutions unless you're going to do it. I believe in seasons. There are seasons that we are in our lives that require a different pace. So maybe at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year, let's say the middle of the year, the summertime, maybe you had to, go at a little bit slower pace. And there's nothing wrong with going at a slower pace, because maybe that particular season that you're in, I'm not talking about summer, spring, fall, winter. I'm talking about life seasons. Life seasons will require a different kind of pace from you. You got to find what pace works for you and what pace doesn't work for you. Because every pace that you see somebody else running or skipping or jumping or running hard or running slow, that's them, but that might not be you at that particular time. So you got to find your pace, because every pace, what my point is, every pace might require a different pace out of you. Every season might require a different pace out of you. And it also requires a different motion, a different drive, a different thought process, a different you. And yes, it's important to have pace, but you might need to slow down in this season, or you might need to pick it up. Like for me, I do a lot of self-reflection. I hope that you're doing it, but I would encourage you to start doing some self-reflection of the year from January 1st to December 31st. You should be doing some kind of reflecting. What was my pace from January to now, or January from March, and March to May, May to August, and August to September to the end of the year? What is your pace? Maybe you needed to slow down to really think at that time. Maybe you need to speed it up to get things done, right? Maybe there were some hard decisions that you had to make, and you had to have a different pace, right? But some of our stresses, going back to that, some of our stresses, some of our pressures, if we can be transparent, if we can be honest, if we let some of our stressors, whether it's people, decisions, relationships, what have you, if we are not careful, we can think that we're supposed to be going a fast pace in one season, and that's not required in that particular season. We can miss out on opportunities because we went too fast. Or vice versa. We're actually supposed to go a little bit quicker. We're supposed to have a little bit more momentum going into situations, going into the new year, but we're dragging our feet. And I see a lot of people dragging their feet because I know people are weighed down, but you got to remove that weight. You got to remove that weight so you can have a good pace. You got to find your pace. Everybody has their own pace, and it can be difficult to find ways to keep on pace, but you got to find it. That means you got to do, again, self-reflection. Sometimes you got to journal. Sometimes you got to just sit in silence. Have you ever just sat in silence and just tried to think it out and really give your mind a break? Give yourself a time to really think, what's my next move? Where am I supposed to be? Not just my future. Where am I supposed to be right now? What pace am I supposed to be going? Should I be walking? Should I be sitting still? Should I be running? Not so much. Well, I can't even say that. Some people can run hard, and that's their pace for this now. But you got to find out what that is, right? Your ability might be there to go at a faster pace. But if you are not ready for that pace, man, it can take you out. Listen to me. If I could be transparent, I go to therapy, and I'm not ashamed of it. I go to therapy because I need it. I went to therapy, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was telling her, and she's a wonderful person. Oh my God, you have no idea. I love my therapist. I was doing so much. Everybody knows my story right now. I lost my sister. God bless her. God bless her whole life. Love you, sis. Love you, twin. And I was trying to do so much, not because of her sickness and all of that. I was personally doing too much for myself. I was trying to do so much and trying to go at a pace that it didn't require for me to go at that particular time. I should have just slowed down, but I didn't know how to do it. So I was trying to do all the things that I needed to do for the business. And then I was running out, and I was going back and forth on the road. I was doing this and I was doing that. And it was too much because I had to realize I had to do some self-reflection at that particular time. You're going too fast, and it's not required right now. You need to think on your feet. You need to take time for yourself. You need more sleep. You need more rest. You need to work out more. You need to work your mind out. You need to work your body out. You need to work out your emotions, because there are certain things that are going on that are out of your hands, and you got to learn how to have a better pace. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't have the greatest pace. And the reason why I didn't have the greatest pace because I didn't know that the pace that I needed to have, that's what I needed. I thought me going 120 all the time was helping me. Now 120, and I know Eric Thomas talks about that 120 beast mode, but I know for my beast mode, I had to slow down a little bit because I had to refuel. Sometimes you can go so hard, and I'm just talking about certain people. You can go so hard that you don't give yourself a chance to breathe, to regroup, to reset. It's so important that you reset yourself, not to quit, not quitting. We're not talking about quitting. We're not talking about going back to it in a year. I'm talking about just just taking some time to find a pace that's going to work for you so that you can build your momentum back up. And if you are enjoying this, if you're really saying like, man, DMP Speaks, I really need to find the pace that's going to work for me in this season that I'm in my life. I need you guys to share this with someone, not just with anybody. I need you not just to put it on your page. You have a friend, you have a brother, you got a sister, you got somebody that needs to find their particular pace. I want you to share that with that person. If it's a friend, co-worker, whoever it is, I want you to share that with somebody, because again, we're talking about how to pace yourself. It's very important. Share this with somebody. So let's go back to this. It can be very overwhelming if you are not in the pace that you need to be. But I want to talk for a moment for the people that are running this race, but you're running it at a good pace, but you're starting to feel tired. You're starting to feel overwhelmed. You're starting to feel like maybe this is not the pace that I need to be at, because I don't have anything left. It's like a car and you're trying to run the car and you're trying to get to the gas station, but you know you need to go to the gas station. You should have went to the gas station a mile back, but you're trying to make it and you're running on fumes. Some of you are living your life like that. You're running on fumes and you don't have to. You don't have to keep running your life on fumes over and over and over. Sometimes it's just good to take a break in your pace. Okay, for instance, let me give you let me give you this example. I love track and field. I love track and field. I love when the Olympics come on, but the Summer Olympics is my favorite because I get to see the best of the best running, right? And track and field. But if you really think about it, all of them are athletic. They could probably beat me within a couple seconds because I'm just a little slow. Yeah, I gotta get back in the gym, right? But there is a pace that they have mastered. You know why? Because there was someone to help them master that pace. With a coach, they got a coach and they're finding their pace. They probably didn't start off like that. They probably didn't start off very fast. They probably were out of breath. They were exhausted, right? They were frustrated. They were angry, but they found a pace that works for them. That personal trainer, that coach helped that athlete stay on pace. They probably fell, but they got back up. They probably tripped, but they got back up. Something happened and mentally, and they weren't on the pace that they would need to be, but they got back up and they kept running. And some of you got to do the same thing. Some of you have failed, but you got to get back up. Some of you have tripped in life, in relationships, on your job, trying to go back to school, and you tripped. You failed an exam. You failed it 3 times, and you're saying, well, this is it for me. But you got to get back on pace. You got to pace yourself. Like, I'm a drummer. I love to play drums. That's one of my favorite things that I love to do. So I am the heartbeat of my band when I play. So I have to have a certain rhythm when I'm playing. It depends on the tempo. But if the tempo's good, the bass player is slapping that bass and the keys, the organ, and the guitar, everybody's in rhythm. I got to be the heartbeat of the beat, the heartbeat of the band, the heartbeat of the band. I gotta be that. So I have to have not just a certain tempo, I have to keep the pace. Because if I go too fast, it's going to ruin the rhythm. If I go too slow, it's going to ruin the rhythm. But if I go at a good pace, oh, we jamming. I mean, we going to a whole nother level musically, right? And you got to find your rhythm. Some of you got to do that in your marriage. You got to find your rhythm. You got to do that with your kids. You got to find your rhythm. You just got a new job and you don't know everything. You got to find your rhythm. You got to find your pace. You can do this. Maybe not too slow, not too fast, but just enough. Just enough. You got to find your pace. So I know we're running out of time. So I want to give you these things. I want to give you these 4 things that I really want you to work on to keep your pace. And I know I'm moving because I feel good tonight because I'm helping somebody find their pace. You've been out of rhythm for a while and you got to find your pace. So the first one that I want to talk to you about, and we're almost done. And I talked about it already tonight, but you got to slow down. But as you slow down, you got to think. You got to find your balance. I want to pose this question. Have you found your balance in your life? Have you really found your balance where you're supposed to be? You got to find not just your rhythm, but you got to find your pace. You got to find your balance. Sometimes you got to slow down and say, was that the right decision? I should have jumped on that opportunity. I wasn't ready. Because sometimes the opportunity presents itself. Again, we're not balanced because we're trying to do too much to impress, or we're trying to do too much and we miss the opportunity. We miss the boat coming by us. We gotta get on the boat. We gotta find ourselves. So we gotta find our balance so that we're not in an imbalanced life, an imbalanced relationship, is an imbalance with our money. We got to learn how to budget ourselves. And most of all, when it comes to our self-esteem and our confidence in ourselves, we got to find a balance. And sometimes it's hard to try to find a balance when you're trying to do everything for everybody else and you're not balancing yourself. But you got to find your balance. Number 1 was slow down and think. Find your balance. Number 2 is stop trying to compete with others. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Stop trying to compete with other people. I am guilty of this when I was younger. I'm trying to do other things that other people are doing. Maybe they are able to do it because they've been doing it longer than I have. I tried to do that as a speaker when I first started a few years ago. I was trying to do this and that I seen, and I go back and say, oh, I could do it. But their pace is different because they've been doing it longer than I have. But that doesn't mean that I have to go at the same pace they had. I got to go at my own pace. And listen, you got to find, not only when you find your pace, go at your own pace. Do your own thing and be proud of who you are. Be proud where you are. Be self-sufficient and glad in the space that you are. And stop trying to compete with other people because it's draining you. It's draining you. Stop trying to compete and find your own pace. And when you find your own pace, be glad in it. Work that pace. Pace yourself. Work. That's what we're talking about tonight. Pace yourself and stop trying to compete with everybody else's pace. So it could be somebody that's going slower than you, but that's not your time to talk about them, or they're going too fast. That's not your time to talk about them. You can learn from them. You can glean from them, but you got to find your own pace. You got to find your own pace so that you can make the right decisions for yourself, for your marriage, for your family, for your money, for your mind, for your spiritual growth. You got to find your pace, right? And stop competing. Let me say that again. Stop competing with others. Number 3, because I'm running out of time. I got 3 minutes. Let go of unrealistic expectations that you have set for yourself. That's a big one. We have, if we can be honest, we have too many unrealistic, expectations that we set for ourselves, because a lot of times we are competing with others or we're competing with ourselves, and we don't have to. You need to have realistic expectations that you know that you're capable of doing. And once you have accomplished that particular expectation of yourself, then make a new goal or goals. But sometimes we try to, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I believe it, but if your pace right now is off, and you're sleeping more than you are supposed to be working, your pace is off. If you're always gossiping but you're never applying all that energy you put on the phone or on Netflix and then chilling and playing video games, and you're not working, but you want to be a millionaire, you want this and want that. It takes the effort, realistic expectations. We got to take, I know you heard take the limits off, but we got to take these unrealistic expectations off of ourselves and set things that we know that we're capable of doing. I know this is kind of a different kind of situation that I'm talking about, but taking the unrealistic expectations off ourselves, because that's pressure too. And we got to take that off. The last one is, and I got one more minute. Don't compare your pace to someone else. And we talked about this already, but don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare your pace to other people. It is so draining when you're trying to compare your walk, your run, your jog to someone else. Like when I go to Planet Fitness, people are lifting 200, 300 right now because I haven't been doing a lot. I could do 130. I could do 140 because I don't want to go overboard that I can't come back the next day, my next day that I planned out in my weekly schedule to come to the gym, because I done did 400 40 times and now I can't lift my arms. My pace is maybe 130 right now, maybe 140. And once that pace is well and I'm able to lift that weight at a certain rhythm and a certain consistency, then I'll do the 150. And then when the 150 to the 170, then I'll get to the 200. So then I can get at their pace. But I have to be okay with where the pace I am. And not so much, I don't want to use the word satisfied, but I have to be okay with where I am. I can't compare their pace to mine because that's theirs and this is mine. So I'm hoping that tonight that you were able to find a pace or develop or plan a pace at your own leisure that's going to help you pace yourself. Listen, I'm excited about what's happening for you. I'm excited for where you're going. And if you enjoyed this, I just need you to share this with someone. I feel that you're going to become the best version of yourself this year, not next year, this year, because this year is not done yet. You still have work to do, and I want you to become the best version that you can be. So listen, guys, next week, brand new topic. It's going to be wonderful, but I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you all to have a wonderful and a blessed night and happy holidays, but I'm going to have a new one on next week.